All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga.
In answer to the sage's questions, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada has appropriately named this chapter Divinity and Divine Service. To summarize the first answer of the question, describe activities beneficial to humanity, Sri Suta Goswami addresses the soul's true purpose, which is to form attachment to the Lord, the only way to be happy, blissful, and be divinity. In the second answer to the query of the essence of all scriptures, Sri Suta Goswami declares that loving devotional service, which leads the soul to their Nitya Dharma, transcendental divine service to the Lord, is recommended. Step by step progression on the path of devotional service, following in the footsteps of Guru and Vaishnavas, enhances our knowing, being, and loving nature. The most confidential prayojan goal being our divine relationship with Srimati Radhika and her eternal associates. This is the path that Srila Rupa Goswami came to give us, so that we affectionately follow it and become loving Rupanugas in our sadhan stage and enter our bhajan in our Siddha Deha original identity. How can we materially conditioned souls from the Tathashta energy achieve this? By knowing our sambandha, relationship, abhidheya, process, and prayojan, goal. Since our true relationship is with the Lord, striving to know the names, qualities, and pastimes of the all knowing Krishna is the platform. While we engage in chanting and meditate on the pastimes by engaging in Hari Kirtan, we form a relationship with the Lord and simultaneously we also serve Him. This relationship gets thicker with sadhu sang and by rendering devotional service to the exalted Vaishnavas who have tasted the love of God through their service. The Bhagavatam is Swayam Uttama Bhagavad Purush, who gives us the process and recommendation to clear our path. In the second chapter, Sri Suta Goswami pays his respectful obeisances to his spiritual master, Shukadev Goswami, teaching us the importance of such duties unto the seed giver of bhakti, our Guru, before studying the Vedas. Unlike Shukadev Goswami, who was a liberated soul from birth, ordinary jivas are born again when the spiritual master purifies us, instilling Brahmanical qualities in us and making us realize the Absolute. With Guru Nishtha, we make further progress until we reach the Vaishnava stage. Thus, the Vaishnava is a self realized learned Brahman. By the mercy of Srila Shukadev, the Bhagavatam is available for all sincere inquirers who want to get out of the material stages of karma and jnana. Only by bhakti, devotional service, one can see the transcendental truth perfectly and realize Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Thus, this jewel of Puranas is directed towards different types of men, those in the mode of goodness, others who are under the mode of passion, and those under the mode of ignorance. Sri Suta Goswami states that satisfaction of the Supersoul, Paramatma, the witness situated in our hearts, can only be obtained by questions and answers on the subject of Krishna, since he is our most intimate master, friend, father or son, and object of conjugal love. By inquiring, we will find our eternal relationship with him in one of these five main rasas, tastes, that are transcendental and eternal. Giving up all questions that are temporary and motivated by envy, we can rise above asura like propensities and make the most of human birth. Uttama Bhakti, bhakti focused on prayojan, which is the essence of all scriptures and whose external characteristics is Tatashta Lakshan and the internal characteristics Swarup Lakshan is the answer to the first question posed by the sages at Naimisharanya. The summary of the whole range of revealed scriptures is unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service unto the Lord. The Vedas prescribe two different types of occupation, one called Pravritti Marg or the path of sense enjoyment, and the other called Nivritti Marg or the path of renunciation. True renunciation is attachment to Krishna, Yukta Vairagya, which naturally leads to detachment from the material world. It is recommended in the Bhagavatam that with dedication We offer all our activities and their results to the service of Krishna. The knowledge of this purifying process is not only the means of attaining devotional service. There are three main activities, later expanding into nine: hearing, glorifying, and meditating on Krishna, which is our abhidheya. Following this path leads to a step by step progression in devotional service. The first stage is Shraddha, faith, which arises towards the topics of Krishna and Sri Guru. The next is Nishtha, steadiness. In this process, Krishna ignites our hearts and purifies it, destroying all sin. Our hearing and chanting are also purified. Ashakti, attachment, when lust, anger, the urge to unnecessarily collect, eat, speak, etc. are destroyed and the mind becomes satisfied in the process. Rati, joyfulness in ecstatic bhav. Prem, love for our object of devotion, Sri Radha and Krishna, their forms, qualities, and pastimes. Therefore, bhakti, devotional service, is our dharma. In the Nivritti Marg, by focusing on Krishna and coordinating all activities with our eternal nature with the Lord, the soul realizes its eternal nature, one of the servant, and this helps one disconnect with the conception of I and mine. Loving God has one main criteria, a submissive heart, and is available for everyone. This spiritual process of how to love God is perfect knowledge. The Pravritti Marg, on the other hand, is exploitative, temporary, and leads to miseries. The general tendency for people is to gain material profit in exchange for religious or any other occupational service, because this gain enables one to fulfill material desires, which in turn satisfies sense gratification. In verse 10, Sri Sutta Goswami describes how material gain should be utilized. He says that one should not live for sense gratification. One should satisfy the senses only in so much as required for self preservation. Because the body is made of senses, which also require a certain amount of satisfaction, there are prohibition, regulative directions for satisfaction of the senses, like honoring only Krishna Prasad, following the four regulative principles. Moreover, following vrata, sankalpa or vow, like chanting extra in Kartik month, and tapasya, are cleansing processes which control material urges and give deep impressions in our heart when we perform them during Kartik and Gauramandal Parikrama. Thus, tapasya gives us strength to carry out our vows. Tapasya is the wealth of the Brahman. It is what Lord Brahma performed to attract Krishna. Our principal tapasya in Kali Yuga is Yajna Sankirtan. The Supreme Lord, who is the original person of the Vishnu categories, expands himself in two categories, namely the integrated plenary portions and separated parts and parcels. The separated are the servitors, and the integrated plenary portions of Vishnu Tattvas are the worshipful objects of service. All the demigods who are empowered by the Lord are also separated parts and parcels. By offering worship to demigods like Brahma and Shiva, the materialists commit offenses unto the lotus feet of Krishna. No demigod can release the imprisoned living being from the conditioned life. This can be done only by devotion to Krishna. The demigods, like other living entities in the material world, are all liquidated at the time of annihilation of the material structure. They themselves are unable to get liberation, and what to speak of giving liberation to their devotees. It is for this reason that those seeking liberation deliberately reject the worship of the demigods, although they have no disrespect for any of them. This ends part 1 of the presentation.
Panchakalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.